Hi, Tracy Hatcher from North Carolina. Rima from Long Island. Hi, Rima. I will be getting back with you today too. I did see your email. So 2 people have popped up, Jackie and Rima. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. Yes, your video is off and I will go through all that. Yes, Debbie, no worries. Just stay in those pajamas. Yep, I'm all about it. I had my pajama bottoms on, but I did a trial run with my daughter in New York and I stood up and she said, Mom, get out of your pajamas. What if you have to stand up? Meredith from Las Vegas. Hello. I will be there next February if we have a clear to go anywhere by next February. I'm going to Arizona the beginning of February and we are going to make a trip over to Vegas, even though I don't gamble, but I will have fun. Welcome. As you're joining, please feel free to go to the chat box and let us know where you are watching from today. We have a full room and we only have 18 attendees. I'd like to get a few more in here. Where is everyone at? Come on, people. I definitely recognize some names. Some of you I have definitely interacted with, some longtime and loyal followers. Thank you. Hello from Miami. We'll enjoy that sunshine. Welcome. On YouTube, we have some viewers from Poland and Jamaica. Oh, I love it. Welcome. Thank you for sharing. Brazil, Netherlands, and London. Awesome. Love it. Thanks for sharing, Haley. I just realized that was you sharing. You know, I'm always slow to the party. You just know she's over there. What's the emoji where she's just Tracy being Tracy. Oh, that's great. So she's checking. So you're watching the YouTube. I love it. Sure. Hello from Yorktown, Virginia. Welcome. Oh, I love it. Okay, we're up to 22. This is supposed to be a full room. We should have our 100 people here. We'll give a couple more minutes. What time is it? 1:03. Yeah, we'll wait. 76 viewers right now on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Thank you for joining, you guys. Really appreciate it. I have followed, Debbie, I recognize your name. I have followed you from your first YouTube video at Christmas many years ago. Boy, so many changes since then. Thank you for being a loyal follower. Really appreciate it. This is just so exciting. Yeah, I've changed so much. It's very hard for me to watch my old videos because I talked with vocal fry, which is something that you do when you're first starting out a lot of times. It's like you transfer from your typical voice. And I think it's a nervousness. And when I watch my old videos, I'm always like, no, just no, Tracy, no. But what do? You learn, you grow. Just like what we will be talking about here, learning, growing, our own success story. 21. Anyone joining, please feel free to let us know where you're joining from today. The chat box is at the bottom in the center. Boston, Massachusetts. Yep, I was gonna say, there goes Donna. California. Hi, Valerie. Canada. Hi, Andrea. Las Vegas, Nevada, another one. Desiree, I recognize your name. Hi, Valerie. So nice to have you here from California. This is so awesome. Makes me want to do this more often. Where are we fitting this in the schedule? Long time subby, yeah. Yeah, it's so neat to see certain people's names, many of you from the Snapchat days. I could keep up more then. Redding, California. Hi, Trudy. What time are we at? 1:05. We'll give a few more minutes. Okay. Moscow, Russia. Wow. Welcome, Regina. Thank you for joining us. What time is it there? It's 8 p.m. Okay. I have several clients that are international clients, and I always have to double check the time changes because not everyone does daylight savings either. So I always have to check. Philippines, wow. Welcome, Maria. Maine, welcome, Anne. Well, I don't know, let's see. Been following you for years, Tracy. Even though you have gotten more polished, those first videos still have so much value. Thank you, Lauren. Really appreciate it. Yeah, you definitely, YouTube will teach you a lot about yourself. Rima, thank you. Go ahead and get going. Okay. All right. We will do that. So I can close the chat box out, right? Like that. Okay. Well, we have 24 joining us right now. I'm sure other people will join. I really don't need to introduce myself. You guys know me from YouTube, Instagram stories, Instagram, all my platforms. And I thank you so much for just your loyal support. It's been a great journey. So you know me, Tracy Hensel, the influencer, the YouTuber, but I am also a certified professional coach. I'm also an energy leadership index master practitioner, and I'm also a core dynamics transition specialist. I recently launched Hensel Coaching and Consulting just because my coaching business has grown so much. I've actually been coaching for about 12 years. I started out in health and wellness, and it just manifested from there, and I love it so much. I've grown so much, and I've met so many wonderful people along the way that I knew that my passion for coaching was something that I wanted to be able to provide to everyone, but I couldn't do it all on my own. Over the last year, I have been transitioning into bringing the amazing coaches that you see here today onto my journey, and they're wonderful. We have worked together over the past year. All of the coaches you will be meeting today have coached me. I have coached them. We have done ELI debriefs on one another. So we've really been on this journey. This didn't happen overnight. It has been in the process, in the making for some time. I am going to introduce you to all of the coaches here, everyone here. And if you want to know more about each of the coaches, please head to the website. Haley will put links in. You can go to their bio and you can read more about each coach. As I mention your name, please give a wave, ladies. I'm going to start with Haley. So if you can bring yourself on. Before we get to the coaches, I want to introduce you to my online business manager and my web designer. She has done the Tracy Hensel website, Hensel Coaching and Consulting website. Amazing, amazing. I could not be where I'm at today without Haley. She is awesome, Haley McGillen. Next up is Donna Star. She's a certified professional coach, ELI master practitioner, and she is also a certified predictive index specialist. Donna. We have Jen Slagle, who is a certified professional coach and ELI MP. Christine Iandiorlio. How did I do? We had a little discrepancy earlier. Certified professional coach, ELI master practitioner. Lena Marie Gilbert, certified professional coach, ELI master practitioner, and the empowering and breakthrough coach, who is also ELI MP, Kelsey Conroy. Welcome everyone. Again, you can learn more about all of the coaches on the website. So before we get started, I want to go over a few things just so all of you know we cannot see you or hear you. So no worries if you're not put together. I would look like how I normally look on Instagram stories, but I thought I would clean up my act a little bit today for here. So just know that we can't see you, we can't hear you. At the bottom of the screen, you will see the chat box in the center. That is for you attendees to interact. Let us know where you're joining from. If you have any issues or concerns, something's not working right, Haley will be watching the chat and she will assist you in any way. She will also be throwing links in there that you can click on to get somewhere so that you can look at that page when you leave our webinar today, our meet and greet. To the right, you will see a Q&A. I see someone has already taken advantage of that. That is where you are going to leave your questions for the coaches. So please don't leave questions for the coaches in the chat box. That's just for interaction. Please leave it in the Q&A. You can also mark yourself anonymous if you so choose. You also will have the option to come on live and share your question live if you so choose. So if you leave a question and you would like us to bring you up in your pajamas, we'd be happy to do so. You just put live next to it and we'll be sure to bring you up. The other thing is there's an upvote option. If someone presents a question that you think, yeah, I'd like to know that too, then please do an upvote because that communicates to us that a lot of people are interested in this question. We may not get to all the questions today. Let me also share that this is not a coaching session. All of the coaches here today are not going to coach you because that's what they do in a session one-on-one or group, however it's set up. This is really for you to present a topic, a specific area of concern, or where you would like growth or goal setting, whatever it is for you. And the coaches will share how they would go about coaching you in that specific area. And I have some questions that have been submitted ahead of time. I'm sure you are all familiar because I've been throwing that out there. Some of you may have taken advantage of that. So listen for questions that could already be a repeat. We'll want to try to avoid those. But I will be reading some of the questions that were submitted ahead of time, but we will also be utilizing that Q&A box. The other thing, I am sure many of you have heard me talk a lot about the ELI assessment. I just get chills even saying it. Do you ladies relate? This is the most powerful assessment to find out so much about yourself, kind of how you are showing up as a person on a daily when all is going well and nothing is tripping you up, but what is happening to you when you are tripped up, when you are stressed out? What happens? We all go somewhere, and it's how are you showing up and how long are you staying there and how much is it serving you or preventing you from achieving your goals or going after what you want? How much does it limit you? And this comes from your attitude, your perception, how you see yourself, how you see others, and how you see the world. And it's based off of many things stemming way back from childhood and all the influencers that we've had. It's not a personality test. It's not the Myers-Briggs or what's the new one? No, anagram, or I don't know, another one that some of my girls have been doing lately. This is more of how you are showing up with energy. Okay. And we learn a lot in that. Well, we'll talk more about it if we need to. I don't want to expand too much, but I have been sharing that there's a special offer going on. That is going on through Thursday. I don't know if I can get the discounted price extended. I will see what I can do, but we are offering it today for $328. You will get the assessment, and you will also get a 2-hour debrief with one of the coaches. There will be a link in the chat box. If you click on that link, it'll take you to the website where you can get your booking and pay for your ELI. And as soon as you purchase that, generally within 24 hours, that will be sent to you with all the instructions. I really want to get that out there because there's so much power in this assessment. I could be here all day. I could have done this 2 hours just on that. So that's enough on that. We can answer questions later on. I think we may be good to go, and I want to get started with the questions. Is everyone ready? Okay. I am going to start with a few questions that have been submitted. And I'm going to start with Christine. I have a question that I want to present to you. I seem to always question myself on everything. What I'm eating, my exercise routine, my parenting, my work performance, etc. How could a coach help in that area?
Hi, so can you hear me? Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So I am Christine Iandiorio, like Tracy said, and I'm really excited to be here. So yeah, I think that questioning ourselves is really something that's very common, and it makes total sense when you have a lot of moving parts, in your life to kind of question, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? And there is no right or wrong, but we want to feel good and confident about what we're doing. And so the way that I would work with someone on this type of question is really working through self-doubt, working through judgment, trying to build awareness around those things, and seeking out in their day, when do I feel that I am, second guessing or comparing? And really just to start to build trust in oneself, because we do bring value to situations and we can do things. And like Tracy said about energy, we can also shift how we show up and how we do things. So it's just really bringing a lot of awareness and building that trust, understanding who you are, how you want to show up, and really building your confidence. And that's a lot of inner work that we would do together by really just understanding, how do I really build awareness and how do I shift how I show up? So a lot of it is awareness, reflection, and just kind of digging deep as to who you are and how you want to be. And just by gaining that clarity, you become more confident. And by building confidence, you don't question yourself as much. And so that's, I think, some ways that we would kind of navigate that type of scenario. You're welcome.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you for that. Lena Marie, I have one for you next.
Okay.
He broke up with me last year, but all I do is think about him. How can I forget my ex-boyfriend?
Okay. I know this because I've been here. Oh gosh. So breakups hurt. Breakups suck, right? So the 1 second, they're your best friend, right? And then the next, you ain't talking, right? So if you're anything like me or where I was, right? Your emotions could go up and down, which is totally normal, right? But forgetting your ex is about remembering who you are, putting the focus back on you. I always say, it's you're the rock star, right? So I have a lot of clients who believe they must or they need to be with the other person, right? To feel whole. No, you are 100% worthy. You're 100% lovable with or without a man. So we're not putting the man on a pedestal anymore, right? We don't want any of that. So he wasn't even that good in bed anyway. So I just feel if you're coming from a place, right? Thank you. So if you're coming from a place of need, and that need is coming from a scarcity mindset. People feel that, men feel that. So we want to create an abundance mindset. Like that's what I'm working on with my clients. Like we're working on increasing your confidence. We're working on increasing your happiness, how to get what you want from your dating life. So like I just believe like you have the power. Like you have the power to create what you want. So I think a lot of us forget that. And I just think that it starts from within. So you're welcome to book a discovery session with me and we can go from there. So that's how I would forget my ex or just block him. I don't know.
Love it, Lena Marie. Love it. Love it. Just doing a session with you is just an energetic experience altogether
Yeah.
without the breakup.
Yeah, I'm not going to BS you.
Right. I love it. Yes. Thank you for that too. That's what we need. We need it. It's very empowering. All right, Jen, I have a question for you. I am in a constant state of sadness and or anxiety. How can a life coach help?
Yes. Well, and thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Jen. I think given our current situation right now, this is kind of a huge topic that a lot of us are feeling is just some anxiety, which can lead to sadness. We're all kind of in this space where we just really don't know what's going on and we don't have any answers. So I think for our session, we're going to kind of dig into that and figure out what's within our control. What can we focus on that we really have the control to change, the control to manipulate our lens a little bit so that we aren't always sitting in that state of panic. A lot of the times that I work with people, I like to send them some pre-work questions and give you guys some ideas or give you a chance to think about some ideas and ways that we can kind of work through some things. And from there, we'd go through the ELI assessment, and which is also going to kind of give us, just tapping onto what Tracy already talked about, it's just going to give us even more in-depth knowledge of maybe why you're feeling anxiety. A lot of those anxious feelings are results of past trauma or experiences or just happenings in your life that might be somehow connected to what's going on right now. And it doesn't necessarily have to even make sense for those connections to happen. So definitely reach out. I would love to talk to you guys. I know I'm personally feeling anxious. I'm working a full-time job. I'm doing also a consulting business. I have 2 teenagers at home. So we are all anxious. We all have so much going on, and we don't need to live in that constant state of panic. There is a place to find some peace.
Thank you for that, Jen. Wonderful. All right, Donna, I am going to give you a question here. Donna works a lot more with business executive. So she's going to have a lot of business type questions. So please bring those if you are leaving questions in the Q&A. First question, Donna, how can coaching help me improve my executive presence?
That's a great question. So just first and foremost, hi, my name's Donna, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you today. And I'm going to book a session with Lena Marie, and I don't have a relationship issue. but I get this question quite a bit from mostly women. You don't often hear men talk about having executive presence. So there is a little bias in my opinion. Jen, I'd love your opinion on that, or all of yours, but executive presence can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, but executive presence comes from inner confidence, how you show up. So all the things we talk about in coaching. But if I was working with a client on executive presence, and I do have one, a recent client of mine who didn't get a job she applied for because they told her she lacked gravitas, which is another word for executive presence, that kind of weightiness. And I was like, hey, if you get feedback from an interview, you're like, score. That's amazing, because not everybody gives you feedback. Sometimes you just go into the black hole. But executive presence is how you show up. I'd work on just your confidence levels. I'd be drilling some questions at you to see how you're handling a situation where you're getting questions at either in an interview or in a meeting, just to see how comfortable you are and see what your default answers are. So there's a lot of inner work. There's a lot of confidence, and competence helps with executive presence. When you are competent and confident about a subject, that shows in your executive presence. So that's how I'd approach that.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you. Let me also chime in real quick for all of you watching. It's important to understand that when you start working with a coach, every single have with your agenda. So if you were to purchase a package with one of the coaches that's here today, and let's say there's 12 sessions in that package, and your topic of what you are looking or to be coached in, you get that out in some, it could be in a questionnaire ahead of time. I have a questionnaire that my clients fill out ahead of time, so I kind of know what we're starting out with. Every session, you set the agenda. So you can always change and shift what it is that you're looking to be coached on. It's always meeting you where you are at that time. And it's always about what you are hoping to gain by the end of that session. So often when you start with with your coach, they will ask you, what are we working on today? You will provide them with that. And then they're also going to ask you, what are you hoping to achieve or gain by today's session? We don't attach an outcome to what's going to happen after that session, but we're going to work with you to try to get you to where you want to be within that 1 hour or 50 minutes, whatever the duration is. So it's really important that you know you can go anywhere when you're working with a coach, and coaches have been trained and their skills are in so many different areas. So just want to make sure that you understand how coaching works, and we can answer questions around that. Just leave them in the Q&A. Kelsey, I have a question for you. How can a coach provide in the area of healthy female relationships? Often I don't feel that I can relate to other women or fit in with a certain circle. Love this question. So many can relate.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I am so grateful to whoever. Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm so grateful to whoever submitted this question. I mean, we have all been there. And if you haven't, it's a blessing. But the truth is, this is a question of identity. And someone who's asking that question is asking the right question, because they're looking inward and saying, what do I want? Why is it that I don't fit? And that feeling of wanting to fit is so normal, and it's natural, and it belongs. And the truth is, you do belong. And if you're not fitting, let's look at that. What about your life is ready to change? That's only a catalyst for you to look at yourself and be like, wow, I really want more meaning and want more purpose. And so by working with a coach, that non-judgmental space to really reflect and say, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure I fit in with the women that are in my life, or I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like a black swan in my family, and it's lonely, or I'm not sure how to break out of it, or how do I find people that are like-minded? By reflecting who you are in the presence of the coach that can hold that space and say, yeah, you're the fucking shit. I don't know what's wrong with those people, but let's get you in the right place. That is the beauty of coaching. I've had the same experience by being coached, of finding my people. And so to whoever asked that question, like, you are on the right track. Whether it's with a coach or the people in your life, you're getting there. And hopefully if a coach sounds like the right decision for you, it would make a huge difference for you to form that relationship with another human. So good luck with that. And of course, always reach out to us.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you. Should we take one from the Q&A? And am I doing that, Kelsey, or are you? Okay.
Yeah. So one that has some upvotes, and Tracy will defer to you on who we might think be the right answer for this, or someone that could take it. So Lauren has asked, what are some tips you ladies have for bringing order to a family home? I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 ages, 8 months and 4 years. Both husband and I are self-employed, so we have very little forced structure, and it feels a bit chaotic.
Well, so many of you, if not all of you, could tackle this. So does anyone feel compelled to jump on this one? Okay, Christine, go for it.
Hi. Oh my gosh, can I so relate to this right now? I work from home. I had many expectations as to where I would be come April, but now I also have 2 kids at home that I'm homeschooling, as well as my husband. So really what I've had to do is definitely for myself, I had like a whole list of things I wanted to do every day. And what I was finding was I really had to kind of dial it back and understand the intention that I wanted to have each day, or the feeling that I wanted to feel. And every day was somewhat different. And so just by like kind of touching back into that inner voice and the need, I was able to say, okay, well, today I really want to feel calm. And what do I need to do that? And I would incorporate that in my day. So I think what we would really work on is, what do you feel like you need? What are the non-negotiables in your family life that need to be done right now? Because there are some things that just have to happen, and there are some things that can wait, or that require something different. And I think partially is understanding what your needs are as a person, but then also how do you communicate with the other people in your home, whether it be your husband or your kids, to also share what your needs are, because you're only as good, as you are within, to then relate to other people. So I think we would really work around like what it is you need, how do you work the best, and really kind of work through what are the non-negotiables and what are the dynamics that are happening. And it really makes a lot of sense that this is coming up right now. And I think it's coming up for a lot of people, because we are really struggling, and every day is different, but we want to feel good every day. And so we would really work on what that can look like for you. And so I too am offering discovery calls. So if anyone wants to work through this, but I think it's also just a matter of really, how do you feel good in your home, and how do you feel the best and make the most of it, especially during this time. And so I think we would really work through that.
Jen, I'm going to give you a question because I did see you kind of raise your hand a little bit on that one. Let's see. How do I continue to work towards my dreams while managing conflicting priorities and workload? My goal is to eventually work for myself.
Well, the first thing I can say about that is I too have goals like that. So I'm sitting in a seat next to somebody who, we have mutual goals, so we have mutual paths. I think there's a lot of discovery there, and really understanding how do you define those goals? What does it actually look like? The process sometimes can feel so big and daunting until we just chunk it down into manageable pieces. And I know for myself, if I can just create those small wins, those small tangible goals for myself, I do kind of quarterly goals, because that's what works for me. For the client, I would work and see what works for you. Some clients might be able to work in bigger chunks or smaller chunks. It kind of just depends on how you need to manage your time. It kind of goes back to even what Christine was talking about with just managing kids at home right now. I think time management is just a huge piece for any of us. And we all sit and compare ourselves to everybody else. And we think, oh, if it works good for Tracy, it's got to work good for me. My lifestyle is different than Tracy. So what has to work for Tracy is great. What works for me needs to work for me. And so I think for this particular piece, if we're thinking about goals and we're thinking about the destination of quitting our job and being self-employed, that path and that pattern has to be customized for yourself and your family. And so through those processes of kind of going through and detailing that out, however it works for you, is what we would kind of go up and achieve. And then I think the biggest part, and this is the part that I tend to not do for myself as well, is when we do achieve those wins, succeed, like have a party, do something for yourself, buy yourself a treat, go get a Starbucks when it opens back up, just something, make sure that we're rewarding ourselves for those small wins when we do achieve them.
Love that. And I also want to chime in that it is easy when you're working with a coach. One of the areas that comes up for me is because all of you attending follow me and you already know a lot about me. Sometimes when I work with a client, they want to know how I do it. Or they'll say, you're really good at this, how can I do that? But we want to take your story, your situation, your scenario, and create your success story. And that's what we do. We fall into that comparison trap. And it goes back to, how is comparing myself to others serving me? And it never will. It never will. It's just a rabbit hole that you're going to climb down. So in coaching, we're going to look at your situation and we're going to come up with that success story for you. I'm looking at these guys. I need to be looking at you guys. But yeah, create your success story. Kelsey, do you want to grab another one from the Q&A, please?
Absolutely. So Eugenia has offered how to know when to push harder or when life is trying to tell you that something is not for you.
Great question. Who wants it? Takers? I'm not coaching today. Christine, go for it.
I think it's a really good question. And sometimes where I sometimes balance is like, and I know I'm not lazy, but lazy comes to mind when I'm not being productive all the time. For myself, like I'll be like, but I'm not. But it's like forward, really what happened that we would work on in a client thing, the awareness that you have around what's pushing you or pulling you. I put a question out to the universe, like it sometimes takes a couple of days. And, it's really a matter of like kind of pausing and saying like, I keep thinking about this. And that's relationship we really would tap into or, pressure to really help it guide you because you have, and so finally have someone. And so it's really a beautiful.
Love that, Christine. So powerful. Your judgment. Look at it, but we're constantly in. When you do you will be amazed judging those around you, and you're judging in heavy on. Some show up more for others than not everyone shows up the same, but how is that limiting you from achieving what you want to achieve? We are holding ourselves back. It's just the ELI. Enough. All right, Lena Marie, I'm going to give you one. I love this one only because I have. I'm like, did one of my clients submit this? But I hear this. So when I saw it, I was like, I love it. I am a single, divorced, mid-30-year-old with one child. Okay. I have been online dating on and off for the last 3 years. I have found that no one I meet lives up to their profiles. Really? Where am I? I lost it. I can't find it. No one lives up to their profiles or my expectations. I am exhausted. How? I often wonder if I need to lower my expectations and accept what is and settle. Can working with a coach help?
You saw my face.
Sign me up.
Everything sounds great until like lower your expectations.
I know. I was like, no.
Oh gosh. Okay. It's funny because I'm going through this right now. You guys have all heard my stories of Quarantine Bay, right? And my dating life. But yes, working with a coach absolutely will help you remember that this is your life, right? So I saw this meme. I'm into the memes these days. I saw this meme the other day and it said, you're the CEO of your life, right? Hire, fire, promote accordingly, right? I love that. It's so true. So my answer is no. No, we're not going to lower your expectations and settle for anything less than what you want, right? So yes, we will work on how you show up, right? That starts with you, right? How you show up as your true and empowered, confident self, right? So when you are on the dating apps, you're attracting men who actually want to rise to the occasion, men who want to meet you at your level. Like, I think that as women, we forget that we have the power, right? And remember, as I tell everyone, like energy attracts like energy, right? In order to attract the one, you have to start by being the one. That's how it all starts. So I'm all about I have all these sayings all the time. But yeah, you're welcome to book a discovery session and we can talk further about it, but never lower your expectations. They have to meet you. That's it.
Love it. Love it. That's right. Kelsey, I have a question for you, and then we'll take one from the Q&A. This one is, how can a coach help a client who never had a good role model growing up? I know very little about good manners, proper etiquette, and how to dress to impress. This prevents me from putting myself out there.
Yeah, natural, completely natural question. And again, so grateful for whoever submitted it because we've all had these moments in our lives. We've all looked to other people and said, why am I not more like that? Oh, maybe it's how I was brought up. I got the short end of the stick, but it's not true. The fact that you're even asking that question, that you're even wanting to rise to that means that it's within you. And there's a good chance that you're being inspired by other people, but there's a unique you in there that's also ready to come out. So it makes perfect sense that you're having these questions, but a coach is an incredible resource for this because they're not only going to help you understand what you like about other people, but also what you love about yourself to create this unique, beautiful cocktail of you to really take out into the streets. And so if you're having those insecurities about etiquette or mannerisms or dressing well, yes, let's partner and create the you that you and really be co-creators in the design of the life that you're looking for. This goes back to the comparison sometimes, and you need not feel so small. It's all within you, and a coach is going to help get you there. So you're on the right track. And I'm really glad that you submitted that question because I think it could help a lot of people. It's all in you.
Love that. And I love that you brought up playing small. When you work with one of the coaches, you're going to bring out the gremlin. We're going to bring out the gremlin. And that gremlin wants you to play small, stay safe, don't get out of your comfort zone. It wants to protect you because whenever we go out and project ourselves and we move forward, eye on the prize, stay in our lane, where am I going? There's that gremlin, that message, that inner voice that's saying, but if you stay with me, I'll keep you safe. Just stay back, play small, don't get uncomfortable. And we will really tap into those inner messages that, again, limit you, hold you back. You make assumptions, interpretations. You tell yourself a story. It's true to you, but it's not truth. Two different things. Yeah, love it. Okay, let's find one in the chat. Donna needs a question. See if there's something in her wheelhouse.
All right, let's see. Oh, wait. Yes, there was one. Donna, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is actually a great one for you. Anonymous would love to know, how do you protect yourself from backstabbers and bullies in the corporate world?
You know, that is such a great question, and corporate environments can often be so alarmingly political. Like, take the worst playground experience you've ever had and put it with a bunch of technically adults. But you know, the question itself shows a large level of awareness, right? Like, if you know, some people are completely unaware that that exists around them. So kudos to whoever asked that question. But what do you do about that? For me, you can't control, you know, when I work with my clients, you can't control the noise and chatter around you. You can only control how you show up. And I know we, as coaches, we use the term show up a lot, but you can only control yourself. So you can minimize your interaction with those people. You can make sure that you're above board and you do your work as well as you possibly can, which of course you are doing. But I would say to minimize your interaction and reduce the noise. That behavior doesn't continue if it isn't fed. It's a monster. So if you don't feed that monster, it dies. It's like the commercials for ticks. You know, that you see these big monsters out there trying to attack you, but if you have the right guard on, they can't hurt you. And I'm not being like woo-woo lily, like it doesn't exist. I'm just telling you that don't jump into the deep end of the ocean there. There's no win in it. And if we work together, we would probably dissect that a little bit more to see exactly how it's affecting you. But it's a great question and a great level of awareness.
Love it. I have another question that I have had presented to me. I want to say more in my YouTube commenting. There's amazing stuff that comes out in the YouTube comments, but this has been a repeat, and it was one that showed up as well on the form that you guys filled out. I'm going to give it to Jen. I think this is a great one for you, Jen. I am in search of regaining my confidence and marriage back after being the caretaker of my elderly parents. How can working with a coach help in this area?
I don't think we've said ELI assessment enough, but this is a great place for the ELI assessment to come into play. Um, when we all go through transitions in our life like this just happens to be the transition that you're defining right now for yourself, is kind of heading back into that space. Transitions, we just need to kind of assess ourselves, why we're feeling it. Let's dig into it. What do we want to feel? How do we want to have that relationship really be defined with those elderly parents? I think you could take elderly parents, or you could make it even young kids, college kids, empty nesters coming back from college. How do we want to change and transition into those new relationships? And by understanding what is important to you, one of the things I think we haven't even touched on yet that we have all been trained in is two different things I'm thinking of. One is core values, and really defining yourself on your core values. I know we have all been trained into kind of helping you through an assessment tool that we have been given through our program of really helping you discover what those values are for yourself. Because maybe there is a value there that is showing up for you that you're not overly in touch with, that might be really bothering you with how you are showing up for this new relationship. So I definitely want to start there, see what your values are, do some assessment, and really define how we can get to that next step.
Love it. Thank you for sharing and talking about core values. I've talked a lot, probably over the last couple months on my Instagram stories about button pushing and triggers, and that goes back to our values. When we get tripped up by something and something affects us, it's because don't judge it. Again, good and bad, right and wrong. We just love to judge. Often when we are triggered and a button is pushed, it's because it's something we value. So it would make sense that your button would be pushed. It's what you do with that and how you're showing up energetically and how long you're letting that fester and keep you from doing what you want to do. So all of that will come out, but that was fantastic. The other thing that I wanted to chime in on Jen's too is boundaries. Really difficult to establish boundaries in that relationship when now who's the parent? You're the parent, and the elderly parents are like the child, and you've kind of switched roles, and it's hard to establish those boundaries. We all do a lot of coaching in boundary setting. So codependency, things like that. All the coaches here at Hensel Coaching and Consulting can help with any of that. Kelsey, Q&A box, please. See if does anyone want to come on live? We would love to bring someone up live to present their question.
While people are thinking about that, this one, I know that we had as a group had agreed that this had to come up at one point. And so thank you, Eugenia, so much for submitting this question. What's the difference between coaching and going to therapy?
Yeah, love it. Who wants to tackle that? Go for it, Don.
That is a great question. Thank you so much for asking. The short answer on that, and you guys can chime in, is that therapy deals with the past and coaching deals with the current you and where you want to go in the future, moving you from point A to point B, raises your level of awareness. Many, many people do both. I have a coach. Most coaches have coaches. All coaches have coaches, I think. And I also have a therapist. So you can have both. They're not mutually exclusive. They just deal with different aspects of what, the past and the future. Anybody want to add anything?
Yeah, does anyone want to expand? There's so much around this too.
Absolutely. This is a question that's dear to my heart because what we learn actually in our program and what we all have come to learn, I think, at least I know for me, is it's so important to build an anabolic team. And my anabolic team is so deep. I've got therapists, I've got body workers, I've got women's groups that I attend, I've got men coaches, I've got female coaches, I've got mentors, I've got women's health mentors. Therapy is just another tool in your toolbox, and so is coaching. And what's interesting about coaching and how it serves for me is because how Tracy explained at the beginning, when you sit down for a coaching session, you can say, this is what I want to accomplish today. It's more like you've got a dentist and you've got a nutritionist and you've got an OBGYN and you've got your general practitioner. Imagine if you could go to one person and say, you know, today my grief is really coming up for me and it's getting in the way of my work. I really want to focus today. And you have that one concrete goal. They're like your COO, they're your co-founder to your life. And so they're action oriented and they're going to consider all of your team. You're going to get to know your coach and you're going to be able to say, you know, my body worker said this, and then my therapist said that, and my body is actually saying this, and you work together on the solution. So I think it's one piece to the puzzle, just like you are. You've got so many facets to address and you deserve to address every facet. And therapy is just one part of that, but the coach can really help you paint the whole picture. I'm really passionate about that answer. Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, love it. And a couple other things I want to share. Sometimes you will have a client that is also in therapy. I have clients that are in both, and it's just a great power team. It's like Kelsey said, you're building that anabolic kind of surrounding to support you on your journey to wherever you want to go. And I've only had one therapist where I've actually had some conversation with in regards to the client, but it's a support system. There's no competition there. We come from a different approach and they are both very powerful. The other thing I want to share is a question that does come up, and we had a segment on this in our training, which, by the way, we've all been trained together at different times. Some of us were in New York, many were in New York the whole time. I moved around, Kelsey moved around. So it's really been a unique journey. But is there anything that we don't coach in? Meaning, would we turn down if we were reached out to for a certain area? Well, that's going to be up to the coach to decide if they feel comfortable in that area or if they feel that referring them to a therapist or counselor would be in their best interest. But one thing to know about coaching, we are not coaching the story. We are coaching you, the client. So if you come to the coach and you say, I just really need help with my in-laws. From day one, this has happened, that has happened. They're always texting my husband, leaving me out. They barely give me the time of day. That's a story, which is great. Okay, that's a story, but we're not coaching the story. We're coaching you, the client. So it's very important to know that. All right. Okay. Q&A. What else is coming up?
Yeah, this is a great one. And Jen actually flagged that she'd be willing to answer this one. And it's from Lisa. And it says, at 50, am I too old to transform myself and my life? And before Jen speaks, I'd love to honor how Jorge Gonzalez actually answered and spoke into this community and said, you're never too old to feel good. You just need to know your age limits and be happy in the way you're going about in your life. So Jen, would you like to expand on Jorge's brilliance?
He said it. Yes, Jorge, that's the answer, right? We're never too old. And I think, you know, I'm 45 and I'm starting this. So I'm a perfect example. I think some of us on this call are definitely hitting that midstream of our life. And I think I'm just getting wiser as I'm getting older. So I would never, ever, ever stop learning. I would never encourage you to stop discovering who you are, what you want to do. Let's definitely dive into that. We can totally transform and you can become who you want to be at 50, 80, 90. I know I coach my mom a lot. She's like 73, I think, and she's still changing. So always room for growth. Always.
Love it. And how is this not tapping into limited beliefs?
Right.
Is this
sure.
not, I bet every coach here is just ready to say, how is this limiting you? Yeah. So how often do we let our limited beliefs hold us from going after what we really want? Not on this journey. Eye on the prize, get in your lane. Yeah. Limited beliefs hold us back so much. Almost every session, I feel like I say that. How is this thinking limiting you? So yeah, it gets
Tracy,
so tough love.
I would love to expand on that just for a second.
Please do.
Coming
I
out of
encourage it.
Those limiting beliefs, when we're told, "Oh, that's a limiting belief," don't let that be a wall. Sometimes I know in the beginning of my coaching journey, I'd be like, that's a limiting belief. And I'd say, okay, what now? What to do with that? Okay, I have a limiting belief. Honor it. Know that it belongs. Know that the limiting belief is not wrong. You're not wrong. And that's what a coach is there for. A coach is there to be like, how do we change this? So don't, just because you have a limiting belief isn't like, you have brown hair and that's it. It is malleable, and that is the hugest part of the ELI again, where, but it's an amazing tool, is to say, where is that energy coming from, and let's get down to the root and dig into the root and pluck it out so it never comes back. And the shifts that can happen in a coaching session in the way that we're trained, I know even in our training, when I changed my life in my in my training by being coached by these fellow coaches, they shifted my energy, and my life changed overnight in some places. So that's the power of coaching. It's really great.
Thank you so much for expanding on that.
This one just itches me so much, because you guys are right. The limiting belief just holds you back. And, you may live on this earth another, 40, 50 years. So you have so much life left in you to do whatever you want, and you're never, ever too old, ever. And so that is a glorious thing to work on when you coach somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah. We all have a lens. I talk about that. And sometimes I feel like, when you're looking through like a set of binoculars and you have to kind of move them around to get them focused, we all have that. Just focus in. Yeah. Christine, I'm going to give you a question. This comes up all the time in my coaching, all the time. In fact, yeah, all the time. And it's a great short one, but it really solidifies the value of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I am that person that needs accountability. What methods does a coach implement to keep their client accountable?
I love this question. I love accountability. And what I love is it's different for everybody. So every client may have a different way that they work, and we would work together to figure out what is it? What does it look like? Is it a check-in in the middle of the week? Is it like, I'm going to tell you when I actually do this? Or am I going to report back when we kind of reconnect again, so I can kind of talk you through what happened? And the beautiful thing about accountability with a coaching relationship is the coach is here to support you and celebrate you. I love when I'm able to celebrate something that we've been working on with a client. I love when a client's able to say, I would have never done this 6 months ago, but because we brought awareness and raised our consciousness around this, I'm able to do it. And so it's really just a matter of, how do we hold each other accountable and what works for you? And, your coach is open to that conversation, and it's different for everyone. But having accountability and the Anabolic team, like Kelsey was talking about, is really like where the coaching comes in. Like, we are your biggest supporters. We are supporting you on your journey, your growth, and we're going to help you get where you want to be. And that's where the accountability comes in, and the partnership. It is a partnership. And so, yeah, I think I love the idea of an Anabolic team, and that's really where I see it come through. And some people, say I can hold myself accountable on my own. Okay, but I love reporting back. And then this is where, when you report back, and sometimes you don't do what you say you're going to do. And that's where a coach is able to explore a little bit further, and then some people work really well with saying, like, I'm not getting on that phone with you unless I do what I said I'm going to do. So again, it's really just working through it. What's right for you? What's going to keep you moving forward and allow you to have the buy-in to say, this is actually what I really want to do. And so I think that's where really I love having accountability. I think having a team, a group, it's really important to have that support, inspiration, and motivation to keep me moving forward towards my goals.
Completely. Yes. Now, I have not looked at all of the coaches' packages, but some of the coaches may offer some connection in between sessions to do little check-ins. So check out all of the coaches packages and see who does that. I do establish that relationship. I probably had 3 or 4 different clients of mine reach out today, and one was about the ELI. I can't wait to read it, but it's how powerful it is and how much it shows up. Lena Marie, relationship question for my relationship gal, my expert here. Love this one because I think a lot of people could identify with this, or at least at some time in their life. Maybe not at my age anymore, but yeah. I have been dating my boyfriend for 1.5 years. I feel like it is one red flag after another, but I cannot seem to break away. My family sees it. My friends see it. I just don't want to be alone. Please help.
Okay. So the thing that stuck out for me is the last line, right? I just don't want to be alone. Like, it's perfectly understandable that you feel this way. Like, I get it. Like, you've invested 1.5 years with this person, but like, what's the real cost here? Like, what's really happening here? Like, what message are you really telling yourself that's preventing you from walking away, right? We talked about the gremlins. What is your gremlin? I don't know. I picture my gremlin over here for some reason. What is your gremlin saying to you? So like this is what we will address in our sessions together. Like, we will heal that message. Like, that's the beginning of the journey, right? Also, like, when someone shows you their true colors, don't try to repaint them, right? And also what's coming up for me, like, is something personal where I was just last year, right? I was also going through a breakup where he was also showing me like red flags, like as we call it, red flags, like just things that just did not sit right in my stomach. And every time I would talk to like friends and like my colleagues here, like all of you guys know, y'all know all my stuff. And I just wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to my gut, right? I didn't want to be alone. I felt like, okay, well, I'll wait another week, maybe another month. Maybe he'll marry me. Maybe. I mean, I've already invested 4 years in this relationship. Why not wait another month, right? I wasn't serving myself, right? And I didn't like the feeling. I didn't like the feeling that I saw the red flags as we saw it, and I wasn't honoring myself. I wasn't listening to my gut. That's when I'm pointing to my gut, like right now, in my heart, like what I got coaching. I got coaching, really, honestly. And that's how I started my journey. It's like, what does Lena Marie want? What does my heart say? So I ask you as well, like, what does your heart say? Does your heart say to invest another 1.5 years in this relationship? Maybe he'll change. Maybe. We can keep telling ourselves, maybe.
And Lena Marie, you've changed so much.
Thank you, Lena Marie. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think your body, it's so interesting. Your body tells you a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's really like being able to, sometimes you don't know what that means, but you feel it. So working with someone and to be able to communicate, to really get clarity on like, what are those feelings? Like, why do I feel pressure on my chest? Why do I feel weight on my shoulders? You know, your body tells you. And so getting it out is also really helpful. And it sounds like you were able to do that.
Right. That's the red flags. It's like when you're not honoring yourself, right? That's where you feel it. You feel it in your stomach. When you're not honoring your values, right? Or when the relationship no longer aligns with your core values, with what you want, with your goals. People change. I get it. I've changed. I'm not the same person where I was when I first met my ex. Completely changed. Now he's calling me and texting me like, where you at?
you, Lena Marie. Love it. Well, whoever submitted that, I think Lena Marie will definitely challenge those unconscious biases that are going on. Jen, I know you had mentioned you potentially may have to jump off early, so I want to give you another question. This was submitted more than once, and then if you do need to jump off, we'll know that if you disappear, you're back at work. So thank you. But thank you for being here, because I know you cannot stay the whole time. So yeah, this was a repeat question, and I almost think I may have even seen it pop up in the Q&A, not sure, but how can a coach help someone dealing with the grief of losing a loved one? I am a prisoner to the pain that I just cannot get past.
My heart hurts hearing the question, right? So pain and suffering, it's all, how do we really define that for ourselves, and how do we really come across, how is that defined for me? It's going to be different for me than it is for anybody else, right? And so one of the phrases that I have written down on my page that I really wanted to make sure I shared with you guys is just having intentional, conscious energy. And I think all of us were trained energy life coaches. The ELI assessment allows us to really understand that energy. And I think a lot of our feelings that we feel can be somewhat softened and felt through just being intentionally conscious of the energy we're showing up in. And so through that assessment, that's where we're also going to talk about that. And I know Tracy shared a lot on her stories on YouTube about the different levels of energy. And so being intentional, once you go through this assessment, if you kind of predominantly show up from this given situation of grief, and you're showing up as a victim, or because why me? I want this back. Why can't it go away? I just want my old life back. You're showing up as a victim. You're showing up in this energy space that's going to kind of keep you stuck. And a lot of that is going to show up not only in our conversation, but it's going to also come up and show up in this ELI assessment. And so we can kind of take those feelings and really understand them and dissect them. And where are they coming from, and why are you feeling them? And how can we help you move out of them and move to that next stage? We're not looking for bliss. We're looking for just incrementally get you through in stages. So
love it.
Yeah, there is two things that I just want to shout out before I am hopping off. And I just lost them. Okay, one thing I wanted to just give a shout out. I don't know if anybody's listening from the Midwest, because I am a Midwest girl. I think I am the only one on the team that is Midwest. I'm from Iowa. I did all my training in Minnesota and Chicago. So a little different than the rest of them. I think they were all East Coast. I met Tracy in Chicago.
Yeah.
But I'm a Midwest girl. And the only other thing I want to just point out is there was a question that came through about teens. And I just want to chime in and tell you guys that as the mother of an 18 and 17-year-old, I got it. I'm coaching my kids all day long, and sometimes they are aware of it and they'll say, Mom, stop coaching me. And sometimes they won't. So yes, teens, especially now. I have a senior. He's losing a senior year. I need to not only coach myself through that, I need to coach him. So definitely coach. Any of us could coach anybody of any age. I know we all do that. So yes, it doesn't matter the age, the 50-year-old person who wrote in or the person who's looking for a teenage help. So thank you so much. I'm sorry I have to go. It's been a blast.
Thank you, Jen. Really appreciate it.
Yes, and I know Haley left all of our links in there, so I would love to do discovery sessions with anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Kelsey, do you want to pull something from the Q&A? And has anyone requested to come on live?
No one has requested to come on live.
Ooh, everyone's in there. Now, come on, you guys. You probably all watch me on Instagram stories. You know you don't usually see this, but no pressure. No, I get it. I understand. We are not all used to being in front of a camera. It's a process, that's for sure. Get it.
I will, though, offer that as a coach, this is an amazing time to get out of your comfort zone and share what you need to say or want to say, because there's someone else on this call that has the same question as you. So be a leader. This is an amazing time to step up and be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to say it. This is how I'm feeling. And if you need more of that, just look at Lena Marie. She's like, tap into that energy. Show up that way.
Somebody, Lauren Loach has said she would go live.
I love it.
Let's see.
Before we grab a question, let me also encourage you to not pop off soon if you are attending, because Kelsey is offering a mastery course. I believe the course is going to run 3 weeks and there's going to be 6 sessions, and she will be talking about that at the end. And it is an amazing course and she will talk more about it. So please stay tuned for that. All right.
Okay, Lauren actually might want to come on. So let me find her in the list. Let's see. I'll wait for her to respond.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we have a question. So Lisa Earls, what if your client is having difficulty even focusing in on what they specifically want or need to work on, but know their life isn't what it could be?
Are you guys thinking the wheel of life? Great start. Yeah. Who wants that? Now that I dangled the wheel of life and everyone's going, what's the wheel of life? Often I email, and if that were the topic, often when I email that person to book their session, I email them the wheel of life.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
Let's look at these areas of your life and let's see where your level of satisfaction is. So just getting that out there. If you want to know about the wheel of life, just, you know where to find us. We all have access to it.
Yeah. And I think it's that connecting to the values, which I think Jen had talked about. I think there's a lot of work that could be done on values, visioning, where do I see myself 5 years out? And it's just really uncovering, like, what brings me joy? What do I want to do more of? What could I do less of? It's just a lot of self-discovery to understand, like, I don't know, why do you want to wake up in the morning? Because sometimes it's hard to see all that when you're in autopilot, or when you actually are getting super consumed that you don't know what to do. And then it just like weighs on you, like, I can't find the answer because I just don't know what to do. And so by talking things out, gaining clarity, using some of the tools that we talk about, and then the coach really starts asking you a lot of questions. We get curious to really see like what it is that brings you joy. And like I said earlier, there's no right or wrong. There's trial and error. And, and if you think about it as like, I want to have fun with this, it makes things a lot more enjoyable. And if you think to yourself, I'm going to learn from every experience, that's also, I think, a really big key in understanding and navigating.
Yeah, can I add something here? I know we're never, but I mean, generally the client knows. So when many times when the client comes to us and says, I don't know, we are trained to ask the right questions to say, well, what if you did know? Or what are you not saying that you are uncomfortable saying? So there's usually something behind that. So it's not uncommon for us to deal with clients that say they don't know. They know they need to work on something, but they're not sure what.
And we've created a safe, non-judgmental space. We're building trust with each other so that you can share. There's no right or wrong answers. And, what's right for you isn't maybe right for someone else. And, that's okay. And a lot of times too, with some of those things, it's like, well, what are other people going to think? And we have to kind of like Teresa said, stay in our lane. But there really is the beauty of self-discovery. And once you step into, what it is you do love, and it's just like your belief grows, your confidence grows, and like you're able to move forward in a way like you weren't able to before.
Great answer. Love that. Beautiful. Did we lose Kelsey? Looks like we did. Let's see. Let me go back here real quick. This is a great one, Donna, and really for these times that we are currently in. There will be lots of people looking for work during COVID. How can coaching help me stand out in the crowd?
You are so right about, and I just did a webinar a couple of weeks ago on personal branding during the time of COVID, because with 22 million people filing for unemployment insurance, plenty of people will be looking for jobs. But the same, so it's understandable that people would be nervous about this. And I do a whole webinar on LinkedIn and how to use that. But just in terms of differentiating yourself, what I find very often working with my clients is they don't have their story. Like, you need to know what makes you, and we would work on, you don't need to, you want to work on what makes you unique, why you can add value to the company. You have to solve the problem at a company. You know, you have to provide a solution. And so I very often, not rarely, work with people just to make sure that they're on it, that they understand what power they have within them that they can then bring to the interview. So it's just about knowing yourself and your strengths, and also identifying what some of your areas of opportunity, you can tell I've worked in corporate, your developmental areas are. They're not weaknesses, they're just areas that you know that you may need to work on. And so just knowing yourself really through and through. And yes, it will be difficult, but it will not be impossible. The economy will come back, there will be jobs, and you will find the job that's meant for you, and vice versa.
Thank you, Donna. This is kind of expanding, still in the business area, but I think many of you could tackle it. So I'm just going to read it. Andrea, thank you for submitting your question in the Q&A. I am a retail store manager for a jewelry store. I have worked for this company for 30 years. Being off due to COVID has made me realize I really miss nothing about my job. I'm not missing being a sounding board for 10 staff members, customers who find ways to complain, the sales goals pressure, training and coaching sales teams. I feel it in my heart. It's time for a change. Will the ELI help me in finding my true purpose? I mean, I'm burning, but go, girlfriends. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
That's the answer.
I mean, you know, the fact that you have the time to reflect and realize that you do not miss anything about that job, listen, and you have the time to actually do something about it. What we would probably work on together is, what do you like to do? Honor the fact that you don't want to go back. And if you had to go back, maybe it would be for a very limited amount of time, because we like to be realistic with each other, right? If you have to pay your bills. But what a beautiful gift you've given yourself, that you know you don't want to go back. Like, you know, how many people just float through their lives and don't understand that, yes, I'm going to listen here. So we could definitely work on, what is it that you do want to do? What is your heart telling you? And I know other people want to jump in, but that was such a great question.
No, that's great. Like, because you already made a decision. Like, now it's a matter of, like, how do you want to move through this?
Mhm.
How do you want to move through your new life? What does it look like? Right? All of the quarantine, yes, COVID, this is all temporary. I keep telling everyone it's all temporary. Yes, there are going to be steps to reopen, like our country, and we may have to adjust, but look how much we've adjusted so far. I've adjusted, I know for sure. But yeah, like, how do you want to move through this? I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, Andrea, there's an exercise that I do with my clients in this situation, because it is something we really want to navigate through. Because often when it comes to our career, there are many other factors. Income is a factor. Does it work for the needs of you and your family? So yes, as a coach, we are, and again, you're always setting that agenda, and it's always about where you want to go. And the coach does not attach an outcome. So we never attach an outcome to whether you are going to achieve the success you're going after. But for myself in this situation, there's a couple exercises that I do with my client, because I want to get some cards on the table. And sometimes I bring up things that, in the midst of not missing your job, we just may need to shed some light on and peel back some layers. That and everyone will coach different. And that's what you know, that's just my style. Sometimes I have lots of exercises that I use, and I immediately could picture one that's really about a kind of a pain, gain, pros, cons type thing. And I've used it even in raising my children when they're trying to decide between two things. Well, let's get everything, let's get the cards on the table and see what we're really working with, because the light bulb will go off. What is going to serve you best? Now back to the ELI. The ELI is powerful for anyone, and I probably would bring the ELI in, but I like to choose when my clients do the ELI. So I would probably do a few coaching sessions before we did the assessment on you, is probably how I would do it. Don't know till we get there, because again, you're setting that agenda. Okay, another question. So it's open for whoever wants it. Lauren, thank you for submitting the question in the Q&A. Is it important to choose a coach that is similar to you, or does someone different than you offer counter perspective? Ooh, I love this. Who wants her?
Christine.
I mean,
Go for it.
you know, I think it's a vibe, right? And so I think a personality is a very important thing, that whether you connect or mesh with. If someone is low energy and you don't respond to that, then that's probably not the right coach for you. However, with coaches, you know, I like to ask my clients, like, do you like to be challenged? Like, how do you like to work together? Like, what's going to help you? You know, can I ask you tough questions? Can I call you out on something? And it also, it depends on the client, and then there's ways to do it. So, you know, I think to your question is, like, you're seeing so many different personalities here. Like, is there someone that just kind of feels like you're clicking with? I mean, this is a beautiful forum for you to be able to see multiple coaches, multiple personalities. We all were trained very similar. We all have the same background, but we all bring it out in different ways. And I've been coached by every single person on this panel right now. And I'll tell you, I get something amazing out of each session with every single one of them. And just like anything, it's what you put in that you get out. So, you know, I would just encourage you to kind of like see, like, you know, kind of like the touch point of like, well, who am I feeling the best energy with? But you will get something out of all of us, which I think is kind of cool too.
Right.
Anyone else?
Love that, love that. And just adding on the different styles of coaching, because that is one of the things that we have all had to do to make sure we were a good fit, was we've all worked together. Most of us have debriefed each other. So everyone here, we've all taken the ELI assessment before knowing about the ELI. So you better believe we had the judgment mode going on. We are no different. And then we debriefed one another. So it's even funny, the dynamics of our coaching relationship. We know what energy we experience in different moments. And so even sometimes when I'm in a conversation with the coaches, they'll be like, Tracy, you're in your level 6, because I'm so excited about something and I'm experiencing that level 6. So it's really nice once you understand where you're coming from, which you're going to be a mixture, but it's nice that you actually know where you're at. I know when I go to level 1, and I know that I want to shift myself out of there because I know it's non-serving. Yeah. Prior to understanding what I was experiencing under stress, I would let it fester throughout my day. So it's there's again, no judgment, no right or wrong that we go there. There's a purpose for each level, even the catabolic levels of energy. It's, are you going there by default? Because it's a trigger and that's just where you go. I'm the victim, poor me. It always happens to me. It's always me. No one else has a car pull out in front of them. It's always me. Total victim thinking. Is that manifesting into your day? And you're taking it with you everywhere you go and every person you interact with, and you're taking it to work and your kids and your family? If that's serving you, who are we to say? But it's all about shifting that energy in that moment. The other thing that came up for me real quick, this is my question, and you guys can answer that. Well, I probably need to be the one to answer it, but let's say you're working with a coach and you bought a package and you're not feeling that connection, and maybe you purchased 6 months and you're just not shifting and you're just not. Could you start working with another coach? Well, recognize we are all independent coaches, but we are a collaborative and a team. We are here to provide for you. We will make something work, and there is a coach that can help you and assist you in whatever it is that you want to do. So we would be willing to work no matter what. So just know that. Here's a question here, which kind of falls into this. And thank you, Jackie, for submitting this one on the Q&A. Do clients coach with, or do clients counsel? I guess we have to be careful with the counsel word, but we'll use it. This is her true words. Do clients counsel with multiple coaches? If so, do you share questionnaires? I mean, do you want me to address that one, or do you guys want to chime in? We could do anything. If you felt like, wow, I would love to coach with a couple of you, that can be, I'm sure everyone here would be open to doing something like that. Many of us do group coaching. I do speaking engagements, so there's a group all the time, but we are here to provide for you. So whatever it is you're looking for, you reach out, and I'm sure that we can come up with something. All right, next question. Thank you, Victoria. My husband and I want to move across the country. My family has been abusive in the past, and my husband's family are alcoholics. We love the South and have vacationed there frequently. My question, is it productive to move away and start over? What do I need to be mindful of to make a decision on it? Who's a taker?
I'm happy to take this one. And I'm back in. Sorry, I hopped off.
No problem.
So yes, incredible story there that's happening for you. And it sounds like you have a lot of awareness around what's influencing your decisions in your life in this moment. And you also know what's possible. You also know what's important to you and your values. And so one thing that we want to be really cognizant of in these big decisions in our lives is, are we running towards something, or are we running away from something? And that's a really big distinction to make, because you could be running away from something in seeking relief from it that could lead you away from your true values and your core values. If instead you're saying, my core values are X, Y, and Z, my beliefs, what's important to me is X, and that's why I'm making this move. I actually talk about that a little bit of the course that I'll be talking about, is the difference between fear and intuition. And so I understand, and I've been there too, of wanting to build a better life. And sometimes it can look like running away from the problem is the issue, but wherever you go, there you are. And that's what Tracy always talks about, is we're not coaching the story, we're coaching the client. So who do you need to be to show up in your life to allow you to live the life that you want? And once you become that person, once we understand who that person is, maybe then she's like, and you know what, I think I do want to live somewhere else. Or she's going to say, and now that I'm fully embodied in myself and my purpose and my life, I actually want to grow closer to my family despite their alcoholism or despite the conflict that we've had in the past. So there's so much growth there. And the fact that you even asked the question means that there's so much work to be done and great progress to be made there. So I'm happy to cover that as in terms of coaching for anyone that can relate to that. Tracy, you're muted.
Thank you. I'm not now, right? I love that you always have my back, you and Haley. What would I do? Well, that's a whole reality show we could have on here. Tracyisms. Okay, I have a question here. Anyone can take it. I'm kind of leaning a little Christine, but we'll see if someone else wants it. As a stay-at-home mom, how do I organize my day in a way to feel productive versus just being busy?
Actually coached someone on this the other day. Sometimes when you're feeling like this overwhelm, we would probably talk through, like, are you avoiding something? You know, is there something that you're trying to, you know, I had a client who was focusing so much on what was going on with the pandemic, and in the sense of like, I want to serve. And so I feel so good because I'm doing all these good things, but she was neglecting something that she had as a goal of hers. And once we started to talk through that a little bit, you know, she was like, wait, I don't want to like look back in 6 months and say, wait, I didn't do what I was supposed to do, or like what I had set out to do before all this. So I'm just going to look back on the question again. It's about organization. How do I organize my day?
Like be productive, but not busy. It sounds like, you know, that's that autopilot type of thing.
Yes. Yes, it is. And I think with the autopilot, it's really a matter of slowing down. And like, so a lot of people on the panel here will know that when all this started to happen, I needed to find silence in my day to understand what it was I needed. And so I had to retreat into my closet, close the door, be quiet, so that I could really figure out what it is I needed, what it was I needed to feel throughout the day. How could I be a better mom, spouse, not be so reactive? And so I think that, you know, when you're on autopilot, it's a matter of slowing down a little bit to really tap into like, well, what are the things that I need right now? And, you know, with that could come, you know, oh gosh, I do need to organize my desk space because it's feeling like I can't even go there and get work done. You know, we'll uncover, you know, the things that come up, but by being quiet and sometimes like slowing down from the autopilot, you're really able to kind of dissect, you know, what's maybe happening? What are we neglecting? What are we putting before our needs? Because a lot of times we'll at the end of the night, you'll be like, what did I do all day? Right? I wasn't productive. And so I think just really slowing down. I had said something before about like, what are the non-negotiables of your day? You know, how do you communicate with others, what your needs are, and just really kind of saying like, what are my values and what do I need? And how do I kind of project that into my day? And once you have a little bit more, you want to control the day versus the day controlling you. And so there's little changes that you can make. I also noticed like what happens when you have those like little times that like the downtime, right? It's easy to scroll, you know, on social media. It's easy to turn Netflix on. What if you did something else during that time to open up other space? And so I think it's just bringing a lot of awareness around what's going on in your day to kind of say like, what do I want to keep doing? What do I not want to do? You know, and how do I just be better? And it's organic. It's a flow. It's a give and take. And so I think that that's the cool thing is like, you got to figure out what works for you. Like I know, Tracy, you wake up at 4:30. I've tried to wake up early. You know, it doesn't work, but I do now wake up a little bit earlier than my family. And that makes a world of difference for me. So it's figuring out what's right for you. And how we would really coach through that is just really dissecting what's important to you and how do you get more of that in your day and what do you really need?
And watch the climb down the rabbit hole with comparison mode. Often, if we're not feeling productive when we're stay-at-home mom and we're raising small children, it's so easy to look at what everyone else is putting out there and think, I don't have it together, but they do. And always remember, no one is putting out the negatives of their life or the disadvantage. You know, we're putting out what the pretty things. Not that it's fake, but it somewhat is a creative. Yeah. I look at it, especially like Instagram, that's a creative. Mm-hmm. Everything on there is just a creative in my world. It's not necessarily truth. It's a creative outlet. So always remember, watch that. Lena Marie, I want to get another relationship question in. Okay. And then I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting everyone in, but I love this one. I have been with my boyfriend for almost 2 years and I really want to get married. I'm afraid to bring up the topic of marriage because I don't want to seem too needy. He's also stressed at work. When is the right time to bring up the subject of marriage?
So I guess my short answer is now. Now is like we're in quarantine, you know, like I'm in quarantine. Like what else is there to do? But okay, seriously. But I'm sensing like that there's maybe like something like behind the question, like perhaps like some fear talking about gremlins, right? Fear in bringing up your needs or your wants, right? Like maybe perhaps you're scared that you may come across as needy or being too much. You mentioned being needy, or feeling like you're coming across as needy. So maybe by bringing up marriage, you might fear rejection or conflict. So, but on the other side, right, when you're not expressing what you want and what you need, you're already in pain, right? When you're not expressing what you want and need, you're already in pain. You're not avoiding it by not bringing it up. So what would it look like to approach your boyfriend from a place of confidence? What do you want to think in that moment when you're having like that conversation? Like it doesn't have to, you don't have to make it like a big thing, a big conversation, right? What do you need to think? Like I'm a rock star, right? Like any man would be lucky to have me as their wife, right? Like try on those thoughts. Or I don't know, like I'm great in bed, something like that. Something that will give you like that confidence, like that. I don't know. Like I like to, for me, like I like to feel sexy, like in charge and empowered when I have conversations like that. That's how you approach the conversation, right? You come from a place of confidence and empowerment. So try out some of those thoughts. I welcome you to borrow some of my thoughts that I carry around.
Love it. Thank you, Lena Marie. Really appreciate it. Kelsey, does someone want to pop on?
Yes, it sounds like Rima wanted to, and I know that Lauren also offered before I had my
Sure. Bring them both.
technologist burst. So
Let's do that.
and Rima's willing to come on audio only. So Tracy, if you can either make me host or you can bring Rima on yourself. It's up to you.
You're a beautiful host. So there you go.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
All right, Rima. All right, Rima, you're unmuted.
Sorry. Yes, my question was about, hi, thank you all of you. It's been really wonderful. I'm sure we all feel the same way. It's been great. So my question is, how do we handle lingering grief that makes it hard to let go of everything that our loved one left behind? Because now everything, even a ribbon or a rubber band, has sentimental value. And after years, how would you recommend doing that?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this one if that works for the group. Rima, I really want to honor the space that you're in this moment and the courage that you have to come on and ask this question, because everyone, if they haven't been there in their life, they will at some point, and it takes incredible courage to be where you are. So thank you.
Thank you.
And it's really important. Yeah, absolutely. And to step into the loving is a really important part of grief. A really important part of grief is understanding that to fully love something, to really devote yourself to the true love, is to honor the passing. And we're seeing a lot of this in the COVID that's happening right now. There's so much grief happening. And so your grief could also be being increased by the collective grief. We're not separate from others. There's a lot of collective grief happening in the world right now. So be careful and make space and honor the fact that you might be experiencing a lot of grief. That's yourself and others. But if you're feeling triggered by those items, if you're feeling, and Tracy touched on this earlier, sometimes when we're triggered, there's a reason. And so if you can muster all the courage and all the strength to be with those items and let them move you, let them do their thing to you, hold them until they make you cry, hold them until they make you quake, and seek out the love and the care that you need and that support you need in order to step into that space. And once we let it come out, once we let the grief move, those objects will begin to transform, and you will begin to transform. Grief is not something to accomplish, it's something to experience, and the only way out is through. And so I'd thank you again for asking this question, and hopefully this provides some space for you to honor where you are in your process and move through it with grace.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on live.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll go ahead and take you down from there. All right.
All right. I think we have Lauren, right?
Lauren, all right.
Come on live. Yeah, great.
All right, Lauren, promoting you to panelist. Hello.
Hi, Lauren.
How are we doing today? Okay,
Fantastic.
so my question is, excuse the noise, lots of babies. I'm a YouTuber and do a lot of social media type stuff. So my question is, do you have any tips for boundaries online with, I guess, say clients, followers, things like that? And just want to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Any takers?
I feel like this is squarely in your wheelhouse, Tracy, because you are the influencer on the group, and would be interesting to hear how you handle the boundaries.
Yeah, well, a lot of it in coaching, when we have the topic of boundaries, it's well, and I really want to emphasize again the ELI assessment, because a lot will show up in that assessment with boundaries. Because once we understand where you're showing up energetically and what some of the triggers are for you, often it will make sense that there's this struggle to establish boundaries with certain people. This one is very hard to not get into the story, because when we're working with a client that has that struggle for establishing boundaries, there's always a lot of stories that are presented to where that struggle is. So we kind of look at the different relationships that you have and where you're having that struggle. Is there codependency? When I'm coaching a client where there's a lot of codependency, one of the things that comes up is one of the people in the relationship is the saver and the other one is the needy. And there is a certain level of energy that shows up in a lot of my clients that are in more of a codependent relationship. And when I do the assessment, light bulb goes off. It makes sense because they have this real people pleasing tendency. They get great pleasure by helping people. It makes them feel good when they can fix things for you. And if they're in a codependent relationship, that needy person is going to thrive on that. And the biggest fear of the needy one is boundaries, because if you establish those boundaries, you're no longer going to save me. So every situation and scenario is going to, I should be looking up here, but it's all unique to you specifically. And that's what we have to look at, is where this is happening and to what level. But learning a lot about where you're showing up energetically can help show why those type of red flags are coming up. And boundary setting is something where coaching can be very powerful, especially if there's some codependency going on. And often, or people pleasing. A lot of people pleasers have that real hard time with boundaries too, because they have so much care and concern for others and they put others before them. So saying no to someone, oh, that just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good in their body. It gives that tense feeling to say no, and they judge it as bad. Where someone else that may show up differently, energetically, they don't look at boundaries at all as being a negative or bad or mean or not nice. They feel that's a healthy relationship, where someone who may have more of that people-pleasing tendency is going to see it through a different filter and lens. So hopefully that kind of answers your question in the short, answer. But yeah, coaching can be really powerful with that. But thank you. Great question. That's a big topic that comes up often. Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. All right, I'm going to throw a question out. Donna, you have not had one in a while.
I'm ready.
I've got a great one here. As an introvert working in an ambitious field with dominating extroverts, I often hold back from voicing my opinion and standing in my power. Could working with a coach help me to have the confidence I need to express myself?
So this is a great question, and thank you for asking. And I have so much to say on the subject, but I'm going to try to stay succinct. It feels to me, without meeting you, that it feels somewhat like a limiting belief. Because if you look at some of the greatest leaders, like Bill Gates, they're introverts. So there's no rule book that says that you must be an extrovert to be successful in anywhere. So that's just one thing that comes to mind. Something else that comes up for me is I want to get to know you to see when your voice was powerful, when you felt in your power, and how we could use that experience to put you more in your power in this room that obviously puts you on your back foot. So I'd want to get to know you. I definitely want to do the ELI, to see where you show up energetically. But to me, you know, the first thing that came out at me was a limiting belief about extroverts ruling the world. So.
Yep.
Thank you for asking that question. I would love to work with you on that. It's near and dear to me.
That is one that I have heard in coaching many times, and not even just in the workplace, but introverts, you know, having that little bit of it holds them back, which does tap into the limited belief. And that's something that's really, really great in exploring too. Kelsey, would you like to take a few minutes and share with everyone the information on your mastery course that is coming very soon?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm excited to have this venue to present it. It's a culmination of what I've learned from my anabolic team and my experience, and also tying in my coach training and my love. This is who I am. You know, I'm a coach. And so tying it all together, this is more than just a course. It's actually an offering of my spirit. So I'm really excited to offer it. If it's all right, I'm going to share my screen really quick so that we can explore it together. And if you guys can confirm it for me, can you see my screen? You guys there? Okay, so Foundations of Self-Mastery. This would be so it's going to be a 6-session course. And I just want to check my chat really. Okay, so the reason why this is 6 sessions, it is designed for you to be live much in a setting like this, but it's something that I've designed that you can register for and watch at any time. You can watch it over and over again. You can choose when the topic feels right to get a refresher, but if you register for it, it'll be in your toolkit moving forward. So this is it's a 6-part series on mastering self-awareness for unleashing your transformation. Like we've talked about as coaches, we're coaching you. We're coaching the decision maker, not the decisions. So by putting together this toolkit, you'll be able to move forward in any situation in your life, feeling empowered. So we're going to focus on 6 parts. 1, beginning with the self. The definition, who are we anyways? What is the self? What drives our self-concept? What is self-love truly? And then exploring some things I've learned about energies and archetypes that have shifted my life and my perspective of my definition of self that have really empowered me. The second part is the spiritual. What's beyond the self? What is it that we're a part of? So connecting with your purpose, values, beliefs, and confidence come out of the spiritual. Vision, trust, and resilience, and unleashing your true self. So untaming the wild is a big part of this. And I'm excited about this part because a lot of people feel that spirituality is sitting tight and calm and going inward, and it's actually about untaming. It's about getting weird with yourself so that you can become what you came here to be on earth. And there's a lot of misunderstanding around what spirituality means or what it could or could not mean for you. The physical, the power of the body. I myself have healed myself from chronic illness and adrenal fatigue. And it was the beginning of my spiritual journey because that's when I was brought to my knees and told, like, I need to pay attention to who I am. So we'll be talking about diet, exercise, sleep, sexuality, the nervous system, and more, and how they work together. And so your relationship with one of these things, whether it's food or exercise that you're trying to get through, we'll talk about changing our relationship with it so that it becomes a part of our unfolding as a human. And it's no longer a crutch or a goal that we need to achieve to really integrate it into our life. The mental. So the mind, again, these misnomers on like, I need to sit quiet. And if I sit quiet for 20 minutes a day, I'll, change my life. There's fact versus fiction in mindfulness, how to leverage mindfulness for transformation, getting started with a meditation practice. If it's something that you've been trying to do, I did teach meditation for a little bit when I lived in New York, and I'm bringing that into this course so we can do some foundations on that. roles of thoughts, ideas, and intuition, they're all different. Your thoughts are different than your ideas, which are different than your intuition. So talking about how to identify that and use them, mastering that monkey mind of those, especially if you're a mom and you're playing 6 roles in your life, you've got so many minds, so many thoughts going through your mind at once. Really mastering that. And then I had mentioned earlier, fear versus intuition, and learning that as a core skill. The power of emotion. I tapped into this a little bit with Rima around grief, but we need to foster emotional awareness to become the actors, not the reactors in our life. So cultivating emotional awareness, mastering difficult emotions. I've been to the depths of that, and there's some really great tools that I'm going to be bringing into this course around how to do that. Transforming anger, sadness, and anxiety. So not just saying I don't want to be anxious anymore. That anxiety is there for a reason. The sadness is there for a reason, and it's telling you who you want to be. So unleashing the true self through our emotions, especially as women. The power of emotions and deep connection, how using emotions can allow you to deeply connect with the people around you and the meaningful relationships in your life, and cultivate more of that. And the transformative power of vulnerability. If vulnerability is something you're not familiar with or you need to be warmed up with, that's also a part of this course. And lastly, the influences in our lives, our home, our culture, and our community. So what our spaces are saying. I'm actually a trained interior designer in my former life, so I'm going to be bringing in my architecture school to this. Nature, elements, and the self. So experiencing what the elements mean. What do they mean? We are fire, we are water, we are earth, we are wind. So how does that come into our identity, and how can it inform us? The power of meaningful connection. This goes back to feeling a belonging, finding like-minded people to spend time with, and how important that is in our lives for you to really become yourself. Tracy's an incredible example of this. She has found people, she is truly herself. And that's why we all love being around her and are drawn to her, is that she reminds us that we have that within us too. But not everyone follows Tracy. Not everyone, she says this all the time, not everyone's gonna like you. So it's important to become yourself, so that you can actually step into your belonging. And so that's part of what this is. And then of course, the social stuff, technology and self-perception, social media, what the news does to us, even Netflix, how we might be disconnecting, like Christine had mentioned. So this course has 6 modules, but the design of it is that they do overlap. So it's important to attend all 6, because oftentimes what we're eating is a result of what we're feeling, and how we're acting is a result of our influences. So there is a constellation, and they're all connected, and it's a more holistic approach to life. So you can register and attend live, but it'll be recorded. The recordings would be available to you afterwards, and you can take them with you in your life and rewatch them in the future if you need a tune up on that physical side or a tune up on the mental. And that's the course. So I'm really excited to offer it. And I'm actually excited to even do it, because now I get to watch it too, as a reminder of like, oh yeah, that was a really important pointer. So thank you guys so much for letting me use this time to talk about it. I'm obviously, my energy shifted, right? I'm like in level 6 right now, super excited about it. So thank you.
Love it, Kelsey. Thank you. And yeah, we all know the level 6, and that's the power of the ELI, is knowing where you're at. And I'm right there with you. I mean, wow, just love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. What a powerful course it is going to be. I'm excited to take the course. The other coaches were just thrilled. So Haley will have all of the links to everything that we've talked about today. Well, I am going to wrap up. Thank you so much for those of you that joined us today, either here on Zoom or by watching on YouTube. This is such a great community. I feel coached by you all the time, because you guys are so fantastic. I would be lost without all of you. So, and I have this wonderful team of coaches now, and it's just been incredible. And we have so much to provide. We are constantly working together for the betterment of ourselves and what we can take out and project in this world to you. We will be bringing on one more coach coming soon, so watch for that. We just couldn't get that all done prior to this, but I will be sharing her very soon. She's another one that we've worked with we've all been with her. She's coached us. We've coached her. It just was a matter of getting all of the details in place. And then that's going to kind of complete the team for right now. But don't forget, if you want to take advantage of the powerful ELI assessment, it is being offered right now for $328. That is a 2-hour debrief, and you also take the assessment. So powerful. It's a great thing to add with some coaching for sure, because so much does come out, and it's utilized in every session afterwards, because we will talk about where you're energetically showing up in different circumstances and situations and with certain people, and just yourself and the judgments that we make. Don't forget about Kelsey's course being offered. Don't miss out on that wonderful opportunity. Go to the website. It's linked. You can check out the bios on all of the coaches. We are everywhere. All of us, we are everywhere on social media. So thank you, Christine, Donna, Kelsey, Lena Marie, Haley, for always taking care of me. If you only knew, like, you can't see her. She's always behind the scenes, and she deserves to be in the forefront because of everything that she does for you guys. If you only knew. I get so much praise that I just have to don't praise this person. It's there she is. Yes, that's where the praise belongs all the time. And I also have to say a big thank you. Kelsey has done so much behind the scenes working with Haley. They kept me in check because, I'm just a tech, yeah, that's catabolic energy right there. But thank you for joining us. I won't keep you any longer. This was 2 hours. Great. You can go back and watch it on my YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will see you in a couple days on YouTube with Carly and Chloe's Q&A. They Tell All. Daughters number 4 and 5. Carly is, how old is Carly? 20? 19? 19. We have 5, and Chloe is 14. They Tell All. I have no idea. I don't edit my videos, so coming back in a couple days for that. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Take care. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.